Excuse me, ma'am. You can't be in here. Thank you. Bye-bye. I've left this outside so many times and it still looks great. What are you guys doing? Look at you.
Oh crap, we got caught. Let's go. I wasn't doing nothing.
Something was on me. It was a piece of grass. That was...
It's like when I'm swimming in the ocean and the seaweed touches my foot.
I had a lot... Hello, my name is Crystal. We live in Connecticut, Zone 6B, and today I am out in the garden. It's that time of the year where I'm out here a lot. Very, very humid. I don't know the exact dew point, but it's very, very humid. It had been raining on and off, and it was forecasted to be raining and kind of yucky out all day today. And I saw the sun kind of peeking through a little bit. So I figured I would grab this hat that I found this morning in my bedroom. Steve had gotten it for me a couple of years ago. I was like, you know what, maybe that would do a little bit better about keeping the bugs away from my head, and maybe with this ventilation it'll help with my sweating. I don't know. I thought I would try it, switch it up a little bit. Excuse me, ma'am. You can't be in here. Thank you. Bye-bye. So this section here is where I weeded a couple of days ago. So here's before and here's after. Not bad. Today I'm going to be working on right here. Just right here, nowhere else, maybe a little bit beyond into the next bed where behind those strawberries. I'm just going to come through and try and clean up all of these weeds out of this bed. I have to harvest the garlic. I'm thinking I will be doing that tomorrow. With all of the rain that we're going to be getting off and on, I don't want to leave them in the ground. This is also something I got on Amazon. I showed it recently. It's called a Hori knife. Steve had gotten it for me off Amazon. It is one of my most favorite garden tools. I'm pretty sure I have one linked. If I don't, I will find it and add it. It is the best. It is my favorite garden tool. I use it to plant things. It gives you the depths if you need it by inches and millimeters. It's got a serrated edge, so if you need to cut a vine that's kind of thick, or in this case I'll be using it to cut out some of the crabgrass because I don't want to rip the roots out. I know the best thing to do is rip the roots out, but sometimes when I do that it rips up my landscape fabric or it disturbs the plants around it, so sometimes I just cut it out. I've left this outside so many times and it still looks great. I don't recommend leaving your tools out in the rain, but sometimes it happens. This one has been, and it really does. It looks great. So here's the before. Let's see how fast we can do this. So we're gonna do a change of plans. I am having a horrible time getting this crabgrass up from right here. That is the pile I've gotten so far, but it is very, very difficult to rip out. And I'm beginning to see the challenge is going to be to rip these weeds out around the shallots and the garlic. What I'm going to do is just focus on behind the beds. There's a gap between this bed and the deer fencing. Just getting in there and ripping out the weeds there, and then at least some progress has been made. So change of plans. Now we're just gonna focus on behind here, and I'm a little afraid of critters. Wish me luck. See if I can get the angle right here. Here is what it looks like after. I got all those weeds cleaned out and behind the other bed too. And I went on the other side and tried to rip them out. The crabgrass that's grown into the landscape fabric, if I go to pull it out, it's just gonna rip the landscape fabric, so I have to cut it. Over here, it's a little bit more complicated to do that. I have some of the stepping stones here, and then there's the bark nuggets, and it's making it very difficult to get in there. Once I get the shallots and the garlic harvested, that it will be easier for me to just rip out the weeds, even the ones on the outside. That's what I'm hoping. So Steve got home a little bit ago from work, and he had to take Homer to get some blood tests done today for his Addison's disease, see if he needs a pre-Corton shot, that kind of thing. So he should be back pretty quickly. And he is going to be helping me put the bird fencing, the bird netting up over the kiwi vines. What are you guys doing? Look at you.
Crap, we got caught. Let's go. I wasn't doing nothing.
Something was on me. It was a piece of grass. That was...
It's like when I'm swimming in the ocean and the seaweed touches my foot.
the same reaction as if a shark did it. I thought a spider was on me, and it was just a piece of grass. We are now in front of the kiwi vines, and you know, as I was talking to Steve just now, first of all, I have to acknowledge I had a hat change because the other one was kind of sweaty and I didn't want to put it back on. So I grabbed my baseball hat. So I have this here. It is, this bag is not a toy. Okay, 10 foot by 20 foot white netting. I like this one for the big vines like this because it's a lot more flimsy. Some of the other netting that I have is kind of stuff I put over the blueberries. It's stiff. I don't know how else to describe it. This is a lot more pliable. I don't think any of these words are accurate descriptions of netting, but it makes sense in my head, and I hope it makes sense to you, what I'm trying to say. More fabric-y? That's not even a word. After removing all 8 bags, here it is. It's more like it's softer, and it is easier to shape over what I'm trying to do without crushing the vines. Some of the nets, it's a little bit thicker and they're heavier, and they're good for things like putting over the brassica beds and stuff like that to keep the bugs out. But this is good for keeping the birds off of the, having a hard time talking today. So this will be good for keeping the birds off of the kiwi vine. Let me show you the kiwis. We have quite a bit of them on there. I think I harvested them last year at the end of August, maybe beginning of September. But there's quite a bit of them in here. Let's see more up there. I had a lot.
I guess we know who rules the roost here, huh?
Wow. Why did she do that?
I don't know.
That was some drama. We would know by now if it was a rooster.
Yeah.
That was intense. She really bit her too. Like she had her. All right. Well, that was interesting. Back to the kiwis. That was scary. We have a lot of them here. I wanted to keep a lot of the vines up because it's allowing some protection for these, but there were so many vines shooting off this way and it would like hit us in the head when we'd go to check the eggs and stuff. So I had to just cut them yesterday, and I had to do the same thing on the other side over here because I didn't want it growing too much onto the garden side, and it is. We really need to add some more trellising, but there are lots of kiwi berries. With how the birds and the rodents have been, I just want to make sure that we are able to get a harvest of them this year. So we're gonna put a net over them, even though it's really ugly to do that. And I've got my 6'2" husband to help me because it's tall. And he's tall. He does the tall things. The kiwi berries are on a 16-foot cattle panel, making it roughly about 8 feet tall or so, maybe 7.5 feet tall, depending on the arch, but it's over this rock. The chickens love it under here, and I'm not sure how that net is going to fit over this, but it's a 10-foot by 20-foot net. Here we go. These are the garden clips from Dollar Tree. They were pretty good. I like them. I use them in the garden. I use them mostly to like clip up the tomato plants or the pepper plants. We will use them here to attach the netting.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
You want to take a walk around and see?
Honestly, and the chickens can still get up underneath it if they really want to do. But I think this side I need to secure a little bit better. So I got the majority of the kiwis covered with Steve's help. The garden side of the kiwis is not covered. And I kind of liked that aesthetically because when I look at the garden, I'm not going to see an enormous net at the end of it. I'll see the kiwi vines, but that's mostly because we couldn't get the net all the way over to stretch. There are kiwis on this side that I noticed today, so if I start to notice that a bird is actually going up and underneath to get the berries, then I might have to add another net. It's not a one and done thing with these nets. You still have to kind of pay attention. Even when I put the net over the blueberries, the cardinal still tried to get like underneath. And it did at one point. We'll see. If it becomes an issue, then I'll just put a small net over there. I didn't put a net on the kiwis last year and we got a nice harvest from them. I'm just doing this out of an abundance of caution. Last year we didn't put a net over the grapes either, and most of them got taken. And then when I noticed the blueberries, so I don't want to risk not getting the harvest. I went around and pruned some of the dead leaves off the bottoms of the tomato plants, and I got this sucker off of a pink oxheart. I have these little glasses. The kids got me, I think they got me a new one this year too, but the one that I'm using for the tomatoes right now is one that they got me last year for Mother's Day. And it's this really cool propagation station. I think they got it at Walmart. I love it. But I just stick this in water with the label so I remember which one it is. And then it develops roots. And then I'm able to, usually on a rainy day, I can come out and just stick it in the soil. But if we don't have any rainy days and I want it to root, then I'll just put it in a pot with some soil, let it grow, and then I'll transplant it into the ground. And that is one of the ways that I get continual harvest from things. It also gives me a little bit of insurance. So if something happens to my pink oxheart plant and I'm not able to get any tomatoes off of it, I still have a backup plant. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.